Introduction: The Cardiologist's Revelation. Imagine you are a cardiologist. Every day you see patients who are doing everything right. They've cut out the saturated fat, they exercise regularly, and they've swapped their white bread for whole-grain, heart-healthy alternatives, just as the medical establishment has advised for 40 years. Yet these same patients are getting fatter. Their blood sugar is rising, they are suffering from joint pain, acid reflux, and a strange, stubborn spare tire around their middle that won't budge. This was the reality for Dr. William Davis. He began to suspect that the very food we were told was the staff of life was actually a biological wrecking ball. When he began asking his patients to remove wheat from their diets, not just to eat less of it, but to eliminate it entirely, the results were so profound they challenged everything he had learned in medical school. Wheat Belly is not just a weight loss book. It is a clinical indictment of modern agriculture and a roadmap for reversing the chronic diseases of the 21st century. Chapter 1: The Frankenwheat Transformation. To understand why wheat is a problem, we have to realize that the wheat we eat today is not the wheat our ancestors ate. Dr. Davis takes us back to the early 20th century. For thousands of years, humans ate einkorn and emmer wheat, grains with 14 or 28 chromosomes that grew 4 feet tall and swayed in the wind. But in the 1960s and 70s, the Green Revolution changed everything. To solve world hunger, scientists hybridized wheat to create a semi-dwarf strain. This new wheat was shorter, sturdier, and produced massive yields. It was an agricultural miracle, but Dr. Davis argues it was a human biological disaster. This modern wheat underwent thousands of genetic crosses. It contains proteins and enzymes that never existed in the original plant. Crucially, these changes were never tested for human safety. We replaced a traditional grain with a Frankenwheat that our digestive systems simply do not recognize. Davis argues that this genetic shift created new forms of gluten and other proteins that trigger unique inflammatory responses in the human body. Chapter 2: Amylopectin A, the blood sugar superfuel. One of the most shocking claims in the book is that whole wheat bread is worse than table sugar. To explain this, Davis points to amylopectin A. This is the specific starch found in wheat. While we're taught that complex carbs are better than simple sugars, the body doesn't see it that way. Because of its unique structure, amylopectin A is digested with incredible speed. In fact, the glycemic index of whole wheat bread is 72, while table sugar is only 59. When you eat 2 slices of healthy whole grain toast, your blood sugar spikes higher than if you had eaten a candy bar. This triggers a massive release of insulin. Insulin is your body's primary fat storage hormone. When insulin is high, your body is biologically locked into storage mode, making it impossible to burn fat. Over time, these constant spikes lead to insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. Chapter 3: The Visceral Fat Factory. This brings us to the titular wheat belly. This isn't just a gut or a beer belly. Davis explains that the fat created by wheat-induced insulin spikes is visceral fat. Unlike the fat on your arms or legs, visceral fat is a metabolically active organ. It is angry fat. It produces inflammatory signaling molecules called cytokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6. These molecules travel through your bloodstream, causing systemic inflammation. This is why a wheat belly is so dangerous. It's not just an aesthetic issue, it's a factory for heart disease, high blood pressure, and even cancer. Davis argues that as long as you keep the wheat fuel coming in, you are effectively feeding this inflammatory organ, making it larger and more toxic every day. Chapter 4: The Addictive Grain. Have you ever wondered why you can't stop for just one slice of pizza? Or why you feel hangry just 2 hours after a large sandwich? Davis argues that wheat is literally opioid. When gluten is digested, it's broken down into protein fragments called exorphins. These fragments are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once inside, they bind to the same opioid receptors in the brain as morphine and heroin. This creates a mild euphoria, but it's followed by a sharp opioid withdrawal as the levels drop. This cycle creates a constant nagging hunger. Davis cites data showing that wheat eaters consume on average 400 to 440 extra calories per day than those who don't. It's not a lack of willpower, it's a biochemical addiction. The wheat is telling your brain that it is starving, even when your stomach is full. Chapter 5: Skin, Joints, and Accelerated Aging. Dr. Davis spends a great deal of time looking at what wheat does to our appearance and our bones. He discusses a process called glycation. When your blood sugar spikes from that healthy wheat, the sugar molecules bond to proteins in your body. This creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Think of it like crusting or browning your internal organs. In the skin, this destroys collagen and elastin, leading to what Dr. Davis calls wheat face, characterized by deep wrinkles, bags under the eyes, and acne. Beyond skin, he looks at joint health. Many people suffer from grain-induced arthritis. The chronic inflammation from wheat settles in the joints, but there's also a pH issue. Wheat is a highly acidic food, so to neutralize that acid, your body must pull alkaline minerals, like calcium, from your bones. This makes wheat a primary contributor to osteopenia and osteoporosis, effectively dissolving your bone density over decades of consumption. Chapter 6: The Gluten-Free Trap. This is perhaps the most important chapter for anyone trying to get healthy. Dr. Davis is a fierce critic of the gluten-free industry. He warns that when food companies take out the gluten, they replace it with junk starches: cornstarch, potato starch, rice starch, and tapioca starch. These 4 ingredients have a glycemic index that is even higher than wheat. If you replace your wheat bread with gluten-free bread, you might be avoiding the gluten protein, but you are spiking your blood sugar even harder. This leads to the gluten-free weight gain that many people experience. The wheat belly message isn't to buy gluten-free cookies. It's to stop eating cookies entirely and return to real, whole foods. Chapter 7: The Path Forward: Life Without Wheat. So how do you reclaim your health? The protocol is simple but requires a total commitment. The big no list: eliminate all wheat, including organic, sprouted, or whole grain. Also avoid rye, barley, and initially oats and corn. The withdrawal period: Davis warns that for the first 5 to 7 days, you will feel like you have the flu. This is the opioid withdrawal, as your brain detoxes from the gluten morphins. The yes list: eat unlimited vegetables, raw nuts, and seeds. Focus on healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado, and coconut oil. Eat high-quality proteins, grass-fed meats, eggs, and wild-caught fish. You can have limited amounts of fruit and full-fat dairy. The goal is to shift your body from a sugar-burning metabolism to a fat-burning metabolism. When you remove the wheat, the insulin spikes stop. When the insulin spikes stop, your body can finally access its fat stores, including that visceral wheat belly, for fuel. Conclusion: a new paradigm of health. Wheat belly is a call to return to a way of eating that is consistent with our actual biological needs. Dr. William Davis presents a compelling case that the whole grain era has been a failed experiment. By removing this one modern agricultural product, he argues that we can see a near total reversal of acid reflux, a disappearance of joint pain, a clearing of brain fog, and a rapid, effortless loss of weight. It's not about calorie counting, it's about hormonal correction. As Davis concludes, once you break the wheat cycle, you're not just losing a belly, you're gaining a life. If you're sitting there wondering if this is actually doable, I want to encourage you. Cutting out those processed wheat snacks, the cookies and the crackers I used to reach for every afternoon, was the hardest part for the first 3 days. But once that wheat withdrawal Davis talks about passed, everything changed. I feel much better physically and mentally. If you're tired of feeling sluggish, this book might be the roadmap you've been looking for. I'm currently on day 30 of being wheat-free, and I honestly feel better than I have in years. I'm going to keep sharing the books that are helping me on this path. If you want to see if these results last, or if you want more summaries of books that actually change lives, hit that subscribe button.